Okay, great. Good evening, and welcome to the graduation for the first cohort of the Rosenbaum Fellows in Transformative Kabbalah. So we're so excited to have you guys here tonight. This group has been studying deeply together for the past 10 months, and we just met in person off screen for the first time. We spent a weekend retreating in Keystone, and it was a weekend of learning and growth and transformation and music and bonding and boulders and moose, and it was just lovely to spend time with you guys and really get to know you face to face. To our inaugural cohort of Rosenbaum Fellows, you participated in 10 months of weekly intensive study with David Sanders and independent and shared work between sessions. You dove deeply into the first 2 years of the Kabbalah Experience curriculum and received mentorship in Kabbalah Experience's unique pedagogical approach to transformative Kabbalah. You are now prepared. You're now prepared to launch transformative Kabbalah groups in your home communities, in Serbia, in Berkeley, in Chicago, Cincinnati, Pennsylvania, and Longmont, Colorado. Kabbalah Experience thrives during the pandemic with the expansion of transformative Kabbalah online learning. While that was exciting and it was incredibly expansive, we also believe that in-person, face-to-face small group learning is the best modality for community building. You, our fellows, will be the laboratory to experiment and demonstrate how transformative Kabbalah expansion works in new cities. Our hope is that you will help expand the reach of transformative Kabbalah through your personal and professional networks. The secret sauce of this endeavor is relationships. Lead with confidence, trust, and integrity. Pay attention to who and what shows up, and you will succeed. We're thrilled to share that we've accepted 7 new Rosenbaum Fellows for the next cohort from New Orleans, San Diego, St. Louis, Gainesville, Florida, Superior, Colorado, Denver, and Seattle. We cannot wait to introduce the new Rosenbaum Fellows to you. Their shared learning will commence in September. Thank you to our board of directors for believing in our vision and taking this entrepreneurial leap with David and me. Thank you to Amy and to Gary and to Marty for being with us today, representing our board. Where'd Marty go? There you are. Thank you, Janie, for asking about our next big idea and for taking the leadership to support this initiative in Stanton's memory. Thank you to Louann and Micky Miller for sponsoring the retreat and graduation also in Stanton's blessed memory. Thank you to Ellen for donating to Kabbalah Experience specifically to support this program. And thank you, David, for taking the ball and running with it and investing your time, your passion, and your heart to make this program succeed. Thank you, Mindy, for the behind-the-scenes work, for making it all work, and for being an amazing part of our team. It's an honor to share this moment with all of you. I now invite David to confer their certificates to the inaugural cohort of the Rosenbaum Fellows in Transformative Kabbalah.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming this evening to celebrate with us. And that's the people who are here and the people who are out in this world. I also wanted to thank Luke Colacello, the executive director here of Beth Evergreen. And we chose this place because our other faculty member, Rabbi Jamie Arnold, is the rabbi here at the synagogue. And we've done so many wonderful things together. And it was kind of on the way home off of I-70. So it was a perfect way to end our day. And again, I want to thank all of you for just an amazing weekend, an amazing retreat. I knew William and Mina from class, and also they live in Colorado. But this is the first time we are meeting in person. And from the get-go, there was just, as Melanie just said, the relationship was there already because of the weekly meetings that we had. Okay. We ask each of our prospective fellows to send in what you would expect: a resume, letters of recommendation, and to fill out an application that asks some requisite questions about their general background, their interest and experience in spiritual teaching, and what is motivating them to apply to study transformative Kabbalah. There are 3 questions at the end of the application. These are questions we ask all of our students when they are working on the stories of their life, the metaphor work they do in the second year of our curriculum. The 3 questions are: what is your most sacred value? What quality in you would you most like to change? And what quality in you would others most like to change? If you weren't fully disclosing on the first one, we'll probably get you on the second question. The answers to these questions are most revealing, a window into an applicant's willingness to share what is most meaningful to them, and for them to know upfront that what they are going to be involved in is not just an academic program, it is a study that entails personal work, a journey to become more aware of unseen reality, including what is hidden in plain sight regarding their own life. One of our fellows, Aaron Marcus, introduced me to many intellectual people I've never heard of, but one of them I should have heard of was the amazing Irish poet John O'Donoghue. And I found this quote of O'Donoghue's most illuminating: "There is very little time or attention given to the art of inwardness or a pedagogy of interiority." I set out almost 20 years ago to teach the wisdom of Kabbalah in a way that helped people to look inward. And I felt that it was equally, if not more important, to have a methodology that forwarded personal introspection and a sense of responsibility to the growth of others. I am proud to say that all the graduates today worked hard at mastering the content of our curriculum, and even more so, were willing to share who they are, to have the courage to face and overcome obstacles, including heavy rocks, in the way of their own spiritual development, in order to help others engage in the same process they have engaged in with their colleagues this year. I will now introduce the graduates, our very first Rosenbaum Fellows of Transformative Kabbalah. And they're going to speak briefly after I introduce them, and they'll get their certificate. As a mystic, Matthew follows the breadcrumbs. Another way to say that, he pays attention to what and who shows up. That is exactly what led him to the fellowship. He took an intro class at KE, then purchased 2 of our self-study videos, and was excited to hear that we were planning to start a mentorship program. So he applied. Matthew earned a law degree from Durham University, a master's degree from the London School of Economics, and is in the process of earning his doctoral degree from the University of Tartu. In his thoughtful and thought-provoking book, New Liberalism, Matthew lays out his dream for the future. At the very heart of New Liberalism is a new foundational concept of freedom. Timeless freedom, this is his term, is inherently about ensuring the freedom of future generations, that those future generations are secured through proactive action taken today. The idea of timeless freedom is needed in order to set out a framework through which liberalism can tackle the great challenges facing humanity. This coming year, Matthew will reside in Berkeley, in the Bay Area, with his wife and 2 young children. It is my honor to call up Matthew Kalman, a champion of timeless freedom, to say a few words and receive his certificate of completion. Matthew.
I guess I should start by saying that I wish you were my publicist. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for being here today, and I'd like to thank my wife and children who are hopefully online. So to start with, I thought what would be interesting is to ask all of you 3 questions. And these 3 questions come from the document that started it all, the Sefer Yetzirah. And they come from the way the curriculum is set up as space, time, and soul. The question from space is the focus of how an idea manifests into this moment, into reality. So I'd like you to think, while we're speaking, what idea led you to this moment here today with us? The second is from time, and it's how do we be present in this moment, which means what haven't you accepted from your past and what keeps you from being open to the future. So the second question is to really focus on that aspect. What is keeping you from being present right now? And the third is the soul. And this is Nachum Ish Gamzu. He said, Gamzu Letova, which means how do we make good? How do we make this good? Which is important because we're all called to transform the darkness into light. And so the third question I have is how do you right now see in front of you moments where you can turn darkness into light? And with that, I'd like to say that Vanya's sister's having a baby. Good night.
I'm not exactly sure what the joke was, but that's okay. We'll get to that a little later. I think she's coming up next.
Okay, perfect.
So, Matthew, congratulations.
Thank you.
By the way, he was very quiet on Zoom. But this year, I think he has said more within the span of like one evening than he said the entire year. And we discovered that he actually has a sense of humor. He's a brilliant philosopher. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Next up, there is the inner journey and there is the outer journey. Vanja exemplifies what it means to take the longer and perhaps more circuitous route. It's the proverbial road less traveled, the path that makes all the difference. Vanja is our international fellow from Belgrade, Serbia. I applaud her flexibility in making 6 or 7 p.m. Zoom calls while juggling work outside and inside her home at an hour, as you can imagine, not always conducive to an intense class and group interaction. On her resume, she described herself as a mystic by birth, scientist by training. When you crisscross the domains of energy work, Jungian studies, Christian mysticism, sacred scriptures, trauma healing, and now transformative Kabbalah, you begin to get a sense of Vanja the mystic. Add in a business degree from Salem University in West Virginia, 4 years at the School of Practical Philosophy in New York, a master's degree in the philosophy of psychology, and after 10 long years, a PhD in educational psychology from Walden University in Minneapolis. Vanja, the scientist, emerges. We want to wish her and her family a mazel tov, as Vanja knows how to time things. There's the newest addition to her family this afternoon at a Skyridge hospital. Gabriella was born to her sister. Yeah, we do know how to time things. It's part of the dimension of time. It is my honor to welcome Dr. Vanja Popovic, wife, mother of 2, a scientist and mystic, to share a few words and receive her certificate of completion.
Hello, and hello everybody on Facebook. I actually wanted to say something completely different coming out here, but
to me, being a witness and a subject of what I consider an evolutionary leap, I don't have words to say how grateful I am for all of you welcoming me into your community. And Dr. Sanders and the team behind Kabbalah Experience for opening up the gates, for this eternal wisdom to emerge and to serve in the world at this time. The reason I say this is that I arrived to Denver a couple of days ago from the Balkans. I'm sure you've listened to the drama in the Balkans in the 90s. I'm from Sarajevo, from a very war-torn part of ex-Yugoslavia. And the part of the world that I'm coming from is a part of the world that is currently, just like in the United States, very polarized. We're polarized on so many domains. And to be part of a community which is so unified is evolutionary. So I stand here with an enormous sense of honor, privilege, and gratitude before you, and thanking you for everything that you do. So thank you. Thank you.
You can hold it any which way you want.
Thank you. And my sister had a baby.
If you want, say hello to her. All right, well, the tears are starting. All right, I've been waiting all year, and over this weekend we had the pleasure of David playing the drums for us. The drummer is instrumental in providing the rhythm and the beat, a role David has played all year long in this fellowship. I wanted to borrow the name David gave to his experiential religious school community at Congregation Beth Am in Cincinnati. He called it our village. And that describes the sense of family we have created during our fellowship. It takes a village to mentor a Kabbalah teacher. David went to Colorado College for a Bachelor of Arts, to Minnesota State for a Master of Science in Experiential Education, and to Hebrew Union College in Cincinnati for a Master's of Arts in Hebrew Letters and for his rabbinical ordination. He has been teaching mindfulness meditation for over 20 years and holds not one, but 2 black belts in martial arts, and is working on his 3rd in Krav Maga. It is my honor to welcome David Burstein, husband, father of 3, drummer, mindful mensch, and rabbi, to share a few words and receive his certificate of completion.
This is an exciting moment for me and a terrifying moment for David, letting a rabbi have 2 minutes to speak. So I want to start with my 2nd birthday, and we'll be working our way up. So the reason I want to start with my 2nd birthday is I remember on my 2nd birthday getting a gift, getting a fire truck that I had really wanted all my life, all those 2 years, right? And I was so excited. And as my family knows, and you're about to find out, birthdays are really important to me. Now I'm 56. And it's hard to surprise me, right? Like, it's hard to get a good gift as you get older. And this gift that all of you, the community of Kabbalah Experience, Melanie, Mindy, David, my cohort, has given me is better than any fire truck I could have gotten. And it is within that I find the teaching that I want to carry on is that this is a gift to people. I work primarily with children at our village, but I also work with adults that really need this. Vanja talked about the polarization of our society. We need gifts like this. We need moments in our lives where we're surprised, where we're excited, where we meet new friends. It just doesn't happen when you're 2 or 3 or 4 years old. So I want to thank you all, from all the wonderful people that sponsored us, that gave us this opportunity. Many of us have children. It's nice to have a weekend away, and we appreciate that too. A weekend of laughter and humor and excitement and delicious, delicious food. And thank you for the gift that you gave us, which is to find a master teacher at this stage of my life at 56 is pretty amazing. Someone who I want to study with for the rest of my time. So thank you all. Thank you. Yeah, I kept it short.
You did worry me when you started with the second
So I
verse,
wanted to get you
because
hooked in.
I got a fire engine when I was 5, and it's one of the best gifts I ever got. So,
Well, we know what we can give the people next to you.
all right, David. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Whenever I opened Zoom to start class on Monday mornings, she was already on, present and prepared for our learning. If you read her personal statement, the word that personifies her is grace. The dictionary definition fits our yoga teacher, Nicole: supple movement and elegance. The spiritual definition of grace relates to the Sephira of Chesed, giving people more than they deserve, a spirit of generosity. I have so enjoyed Nicole and her learning partner Erin's chavruta. They were paired as learning partners. It's a perfectly imperfect pairing of opposites, which has helped each of them grow through the strength of their differences. Nicole graduated from Clayton College of Natural Health and worked for years as a yoga teacher, and I love the name of this one, at the Illuminated Soul Wellness Center, before opening her own studio, a name I also love, Life Thrive Yoga, in New Park, Pennsylvania. This morning, Nicole got up just a little earlier than I did, and we had a chance to walk around, and I walked to the river's edge off this bridge, and she was sitting there meditating. And they're going to understand this. I can let you in on the story later, but I was caught between a rock and a meditating place. But Nicole was so in her meditation, she didn't even hear me approach, which led us to be able to do a really wonderful ceremony that evolved. It is my honor to welcome Nocile Montanarelli, wife, her husband Jamie, accompanying her here all the way to Colorado. Thank you, Jamie, for coming. A mother, life coach, yoga teacher, and therapist, to grace us with a few words and receive her certificate of completion.
Well, I'm really glad I didn't trip on my way up here. So we were given 2 minutes, and because I can speak much longer than 2 minutes, I had to write down everything. Growing up in a dual faith home of Catholicism and Judaism marked me lovingly as a half-breed to all sides. It also helped to foster my dedication and love of spirituality. Sometime in the late 80s, early 90s, I discovered Kabbalah and became very interested in studying it. Unfortunately, there was not much information available for me in those dark days of no internet. So I let it go, always hoping to revisit it. What did show up eventually was yoga. It felt really familiar to me. After dedicating years to studying yoga, Kabbalah finally came back to me. Yoga helped me to understand Kabbalah. It made it more sense to me that way. And I became very aware of the parallels in these practices. So in essence, yoga prepared me for Kabbalah, but Kabbalah brought me to yoga. So I would like to complete the circle by offering small group hybrid yoga therapy and transformative Kabbalah together, while respecting both of these wisdom traditions and honoring them completely. On our brief trip together this weekend, we were honored by the presence of the moose energy. David told us that the Native Americans saw them to represent endurance and survival. This is quite fitting for a group of people studying an ancient wisdom that had to both endure and survive. It was a great pleasure to work and study alongside these really, really wonderful people. And I love them. And also, I hope my mom and dad are watching. Hello. And also, Vanja, sister, congratulations on your baby. Thank you.
All right, Nicole. What started me on my path to teaching transformative Kabbalah was an experience of synchronicity that shocked me out of my more typical, more rational way of seeing how the world operated. In the first Kabbalah text, Sefer Yetzirah, which Matthew mentioned, we are introduced to a typology of 12 spiritual senses. The one associated with our being informed by synchronicities is called walking. Our next graduate would call this walking with God, and what he finds on his walks through life are truly remarkable. William is a country music artist. We heard a lot of them this weekend, and his songs often carry in them a premonitory quality for his life's journey. His music soothes the soul, and his work as a manual therapist smooths out the body. After many years as a fitness coach, William founded in 2014 the award-winning Breakthrough Sports Therapy Clinic in Boulder. Yes! For him, every interaction with a client is a spiritual conversation. William is father to Britton, who is here today. Thank you, Britton, for coming, and is accompanied by his mother, Rachel. It is my honor to welcome William Tracy Byarlay, musician, singer-songwriter, and synchronicity specialist, to share a few words and receive his certificate of completion.
Thought this was gonna be easier. No, really.
It's okay.
No, we're good. So, the last several years have been very challenging, and I wanted to speak from a personal place of what we're doing and the impact it really has. And the teachings and the things that we've gone through, I've been able to directly apply to my life in real time. It was kind of wild. It was like the lessons were set up specifically for me. So I would be on a stage and be like, all right, well, here's what we're studying next in class. I'm like, really? No kidding, huh? And it would be these weeks of going through this. But what it did was allow me to really apply it to myself and to my life and what I was experiencing, what I was going through. And it allowed for tremendous healing from a brain injury, from past traumas I didn't even know I was carrying, closure I didn't even know I needed. And so as originally a student with Dr. Sanders, with David, and now in this process, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing today, is because of the transformative work and being able to take these things and truly apply them and see what a difference it does make in your life, and how you better relationships by bettering yourself, and how you show up to be the person you're meant to be because you learn how to do that. And so it's been a very transformative experience.
William, you got through it. Congrats.
Thank you.
For this next graduate, I will start with a quote. None of us, you're going to have to listen carefully because I've been listening to him all year. None of us actually lives, this is from his favorite philosopher. None of us actually lives, and this is deep, none of us actually lives as though there were no truth. Our problem is more with the notion of a single unchanging truth. The word true suggests a relationship between things, being true to someone or to something, truth as loyalty. It is related to trust and is a matter of what one believes to be the case, the option one chooses, the situation one places one's trust. Such a situation is not an absolute. It tells us not only about the chosen thing, but also about the chooser. It cannot be certain. It involves an act of faith, and it involves being faithful to one's intentions. Aaron wrote in his application, 3 years ago, I read McGilchrist's awesome book on the brain. I wondered, why does he sound so Kabbalistic? I've come to see that one of McGilchrist's primary influences was a continuation of Neoplatonic thought, and I've come to appreciate just how much Neoplatonism, if that's how you pronounce it, underlies all Western mysticism, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, and Persian. I've come to see how the Kabbalah is a mashup of Neoplatonism and Midrash. And to top it all off, I'm starting to learn about the very real connections between Neoplatonic spiritual practice, Carl Jung, and depth psychology. I would like to pursue these studies further, learn more about Jewish mysticism in particular, and find some outlet for my desire to share what I've learned. Aaron is a teacher, a lawyer, a tax professional who has spent most of his working life in Jewish day schools in Chicago teaching math, history, and Torah. I am so appreciative that he placed trust in all of us to choose a path to discover the truth about himself, where and with whom one places trust. It is my honor to welcome Aaron Marcus, husband, father of 3, and Ian McGilchrist's faithful disciple, to share a few words and receive his certificate of completion. Oh, and by the way, he's really a lot taller than he is on Zoom.
Thank you, David, and it's been an honor morning with you. And you suggested that I share something I've learned with you over the year, and so I want to share my thoughts about one particular idea, and the idea of the union of opposites. So very abstract, or maybe I can bring it halfway down from the heavens. A very old idea. And I want to leave you with 3 images that perhaps I could leave you with to understand what does this mean, unity of opposites. So let me start with the idea of the many and the one. Can the many be one? And the image I'd like to leave with you is that of a living organism. A living organism is many. We, all life around us, is composed of many parts. Yet it is one. It is a single organism. There is hope for humanity, that the many can be one, because reality is many and one. Let me give another opposite. Let's talk about the political left and the political right, which I think of as a manifestation of inside and outside, the center and the margin. Think about the right as the voice of those who are established, who are at home in the world, the order that is, whereas the left is the voice of the margin, those who perhaps do not have a home. The right is the voice for the past. We have is good, hang on to it. we're fortunate to have received what we received from the past. And the left is the voice from the future. The prophetic voice is saying, what is cannot be. We must change now. Can those be reconciled? Can center and margin be reconciled? Can inside and outside be reconciled? And the image I would like to leave with you is the image of the Savior. King David, is the image of both the outsider and the insider. In the stories, he is originally a vagabond on the run, and eventually he becomes king. He is both insider and outsider. Another kind of image of the Savior is Batman. He is the wealthiest man in Gotham City, but he lives on the margins, in the dark, in the shadows, looking to protect those who are at the margin. There is hope for unity, even in our political conflict. And the third, the whole and the part. And I would suggest that an image of the union of the whole and the part is the Kabbalah experience itself. Is the Kabbalah the whole truth? Yes. Is the Kabbalah only a part of the truth? Yes. It is a unity. And I thank you so much, David, for including me in the program. And I thank Melanie and Mindy, and to the community of Kabbalah Experience. What you're creating here is something very special. It's been a pleasure to be with my fellows, and David is growing this network of people, and I'm sure David knows what he's creating here, but it is something very special. Thank you, David.
It's a unique quality when you can join DC Comics and Torah. So that's our Aaron. Yes. There's a phrase that says, Acharon, Acharon, Chaviv, the last is the closest to the heart. When looking for a name for our spiritual school, we landed on Kabbalah Experience, because students would come in and report, I think I had a Kabbalah experience. What they meant was that they had a glimpse of, or perhaps even an epiphany, of the unseen reality. There was another reason to stick with this name, and that is what our students experience in class. The experience is transformative regarding their perceptions. And for some students, this includes a profound personal transformation. They even choose to adopt a new name, a new mask that better represents who they are at their essence. Our final graduate came in as Martina, and she leaves as Mina. Sometimes all we need to do is remove some of the marble to reveal the statue. For Martina is removing art, the letters A-R-T. I mean, I wish I had a little thing to show you, but Martina, okay. Anyway, to bring out the softer side of herself and her new orientation to the world. Mina was not only a competitive triathlete, she was a triathlon coach, and now she is experimenting with team sports. Yes, you don't always have to do it alone. Mina holds a master's degree from CU Boulder in integrated communications, and from Regis University, a doctorate in physical therapy. That is her chosen profession. Not that she's driven. Her passions include Jinshin Jiu-Jitsu, I think that's how you pronounce it, Muay Thai martial arts, yoga, Jinki, and most recently volleyball. Mina is proud mom to her girls, Angelina and Scarlett. It is my honor to welcome Dr. Mina Young, who made it all the way here to Colorado from her birthplace in Slovenia, whose resilience is life-giving, to share a few words and receive her certificate of completion.
From the moment I stepped in here, I felt very vulnerable. And Martina would have hidden that with her words. And Mina is choosing to just be authentic. When David told us to choose a few words, he looked at me specifically. So I too wrote them down. I'm extremely grateful and honored to be here in your presence and for the opportunity to learn with you. Thank you. Okay. When we fail to recognize that the world is bigger than just ourselves, we also fail to fully grasp the significance of our existence. The unseen reality, rich with parallels and synchronicities, it's vast and limitless. God's greatest masterpiece, captured in the wisdom of Kabbalah. Sorry. John Donne captured this message in his sermon many centuries ago. No man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. If a cloud be washed away by the sea, Europe is the less. As well as if a promontory were, as well as any manner of thy friends or of thine own were. Any man's death diminishes me, because I am involved in mankind, and therefore never stand to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee. Thank you.
Mina, we're moving over. You know, sometimes we have to translate Kabbalah as we would have to translate John Donne. It's not just about men. It's about all of us. And it is such a privilege that I stand here and also acknowledge, just from my heart, 3 of my good friends. They're also my long-term students. Jane E Rosenbaum, thank you so much. Louann Miller, who is not here today with us, but she will be celebrating her 90th birthday next week. And Ellen Moldau, who figured out how to kind of take a walk on her anniversary and still get here. So thanks to her and her husband Greg for being here. And also thank you, Mickey, as well. And thank you, Stanton. Stanton was Janie's amazing husband, the love of her life, and a longtime student. He convinced me that you need to study soul, space, and time probably more than once. Stanton was a brilliant lawyer, but he would say to me, this Kabbalah study is harder than anything I tried to figure out in law school. So Stanton wound up being a mentor as well to some of our young students, and would even drive them home sometimes too from class. So this is for you, Stanton, as well, and we really appreciate, Janie, your dedication to Kabbalah experience. Thank you all, love to you all, and I think it's my turn to turn this over to Janie for a few words to us all and to the graduates. Thank you, Janie.
I didn't prepare anything because I really didn't know what I was going to say or what I wanted to say. I hadn't met any of you. Now I feel like I know you a little bit. And once again, David has created an amazing, magical group of people who will go out into the world and teach, which was so important to my husband. He was a lifelong learner. Up until really the week that he passed away, he was still reading biographies. He was still talking about the importance of information and caring, and really and truly, Kabbalah experience changed our lives. And we are so grateful to David, to Melanie, to all of you for continuing this wonderful story and the journey that we will all continue to be on for a long, long time. So thank you very much. I'm hoping that next year's class will be just as awesome, and I'm really looking forward to meeting you all and getting to know you a little bit better. Thank you.
Now, Janie is somewhat disingenuous about that because, you know, she's been in the longest standing class, who obviously is, they're all special, right? But she's in the most special class. So guess what? That's what they think they are too. So, you know.
Every class with David is special.
Well, they are. All right. Love you.
Love you too.
Thank you.
Thank you all for being here with us. Whether you join us as students, donors, board members, community partners, wife, husband, we're all just so grateful to have you guys here. As we learn in our soul class, Delay Atar Panui Mine, there's no space devoid of you. And you and you and you and you are all part of all of this. And we couldn't do it without any of you. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for choosing to show up and joining in our celebration and our fellowship today. So thank you. We have lots of food and drink. Please eat it so it doesn't go to waste. And thank you all for being here today. Thank you.